So I'll start by looking at gold on the 1 hour time frame, because I used the 1 hour time frame for directional bias, and then I used the 5 minutes time frame for entry setups. So if we look at gold, I'll start from this point here where price created a change of character. So price was previously bullish before setting this all-time high, and you can see that before that all-time high, price did take out this inducement here, this one right here. And after price took out this inducement, it validated this point here as a valid higher high, and the previous lower high was at this point here, because if you zoom in, you can see that price did take out an inducement somewhere here. Yeah, price did take out inducement and then made a new valid lower low here, right? So this was the inducement that price took out. This one right here, it's very small, but it's a valid inducement, which led to this breakout structure here. So this was price before a new all-time high was created on gold. This was the current market structure, but price failed to keep going bullish, and as a result, price went on to create a change of character at this point. Right, so this was change of character created, indicating that gold is about to go bearish. So after this change of character, price did not create any inducement in these areas. As you can see, price was just making impulse move without mitigating any inducement up until this level here, where price finally took out this inducement. So price finally took out inducement at this level, and after that it validated a new valid lower low at this point. So now this meant that our dealing range was now from this higher low here to this lower low created here, and what we'll be doing most of the time is waiting for price to come back to this extreme zone, and then we can start looking for shorts, which will be our extreme order block, which is an imbalance below it, right? So initially, or you can wait for price to come back to this zone, but if you do wait for price to come to this level here, you can see that you're going to miss out on all this price action and you're not going to get any entries. So what I did then is start identifying internal market structure, and on this internal market structure, it started from this point here where price created a valid lower low, and after that I started identifying these impulse and pullbacks that were being created at these levels, and I saw the first valid pullback here, which was taken out, making it a valid inducement. So after this inducement, we had a new valid higher high, but this was internal market structure. So after this high was created, price finally created a breakout structure on the internal market structure, because mind you, this is just an internal structure. The main structure is this one. So everything we're doing in this area is just internal structure. And as price was being developed, it kept on creating swing lows on the internal structure. This was a swing low created, and then after that, price went again to take out a new inducement right here. And after this inducement was taken out, it validated this point here is valid higher high, and after that, price went on to create a new internal breakout structure here. So this was the price action. This price was being delivered, and this was the last breakout structure created as of now. And after that, price went on to take out a new inducement, validating a new valid higher high. So this was the new inducement taken out, giving us this new valid higher high. And after that, I was waiting for price to come back to this extreme order block that was created here, but unfortunately price did not come back to this level here. So this was the previous lower high created, and then this was the extreme order block created on gold. Okay, so I was waiting for price to come back to this level, but as you can see, price failed to do that, and it's now about to create a new valid internal breakout structure, but it's not created yet, so we cannot validate it because it's not obvious that price is going to create an internal breakout structure. So here we can just identify this as a possible internal breakout structure, because price may not come to that level. It may just start reversing here and then come back to this adjustment and then to the order block, I mean, and then continue bullish, or price might just continue bullish and mitigate this extreme order block. And this is the main structure order block. This is just internal structure order blocks, right? So if price does come back to this order block, mind you, this was a change of character created, right? So if price comes back to this level here, we should be looking for shorts on gold. But as you know, by the nature of gold, it's very bullish. And then if fiat currencies are losing strength due to geopolitical events or anything that's going on the fundamental analysis, gold can start selling. But as of now, there's nothing like that happening. So this might not be a high probability setup because gold might continue buying. But as per technical analysis, if price continues bullish and mitigate this extreme order block, I'll be looking for shorts. But then again, H1 analysis is just for directional bias. I do not take entries based on that. So for entries, I'll switch to the 5 minutes time frame where I do the intraday analysis to look for entries. So now if I switch to the 5 minutes time frame, first before I do that, I have to disable all the 1 hour analysis so that when you're on the lower time frame, you get clarity. So some of you have been asking me how to do this. So what you need to do is press Command on your Mac or Windows. On your Windows, you press Control. On MacBook, press Command, and then you go on this object tree, and then you click on this folder. Then you can rename this as 1 hour analysis. So what now happens is all the analysis of 1 hour is now grouped. And if you want to disable everything, you can just click on this I2 and everything will disappear. So that when you go to lower time frames, you have clean charts, no distractions. So now going to the 5 minutes time frame analysis, we just look at the most recent structure created because there's no point in looking at this previous price action since you already know our directional bias on the 1 hour time frame. So what we can now do is look for a valid structure point to start analysis from. In this case, I'll just use the price action that was created on Friday. I will not go back to Thursday. I'll just use this Friday price action, which is starting from this dotted line. So from Friday price action, you can see that price started by creating impulse moves and pullbacks, impulse moves and pullbacks. And this was the last pullback that was created, giving us a new valid high on the 5 minutes time frame. And after this high was broken, it became a new valid breakout structure. So this is main structure on the 5 minutes time frame, right? As gold was bullish. Then after this breakout structure, we now have a new valid lower high at this point here. And after that, we continue the same process looking for impulse move and pullbacks. So you can see here price created an impulse move, then a pullback, impulse move, pullback, impulse move, pullback, impulse, pullback. So the last valid pullback is what we identify as our adjustment. So in this case, this will be our adjustment because it's the last valid pullback that was created. So the end setups that we may get in this case is entry from the extreme order block. In the extreme order block, in this case, it would be the last one with an imbalance. Okay, I'll just use this one. Reason being is it has an imbalance above it and it swept liquidity of these previous candles. So I'll be looking for buys from here. If price come to this extreme order block, and my stop loss can be below this previous lower high, or you can put it just below the order block depending on how much risk reward ratio you want on your trade. This is the first entry setup. Then the other one will be a reversal trade setup. And for the reversal trade, I'll be waiting for price to take out adjustment here, then fails to mitigate this point of interest and then give a reversal, and then I'll be looking for shorts from this point of interest that will be created targeting this extreme order block. So this will be my end setup for shorts on gold and for longs. So this is what I have on gold. And after the session, I'll leave the time for questions. If anyone have a different view or anything you want to show on gold, I'll give you time for that. But as of now, I'm anticipating a bullish move on the 1 hour time frame and a bullish continuation again on the 5 minutes time frame. Okay, so yeah, this is it for gold. Now I'll look at the Euro USD pair, and then after that, I'll look at Bitcoin. Okay, so on Euro USD again, I'll start from the 5 minute, from the 1 hour time frame for directional bias. And after that, we will go to the 5 minutes time frame for entry setups. So on EURUSD, I'll start by looking at the lowest point that price created. So this is a question that I get a lot of times. People are asking me like, where do I start analysis? Should I start here? Should I start here? So my recommendation is you can start from the lowest point that you can see on the chart. Just zoom price to a point where you can see like all the candlesticks on your chart. Then after that, just identify the lowest point that you can see in case of a bullish market. Then in case of a bearish market, just look at the highest point you can see. Then you can start identifying market structure from this low, right, or from the high, depending on where price is going. So I'll just start from this point here, which is the lowest point. So before the lowest point was created, price created a breakout structure. And the breakout structure, if we look at it, we can see this was an adjustment taken out here. And that adjustment validated this point here as a valid lower low. And then there was a liquidity grab because price failed to close with a full body candle close, making this just a liquidity grab. And then price finally managed to close the full body candle close, and now it gave us a new valid breakout structure. Okay, I'm seeing there's some notifications on the chat. Unfortunately, I cannot see it right now, and I'll give time for questions after the session. Okay, guys. So as I was saying, this was the final breakout structure. This is not a valid breakout structure because if you look, you can see that price failed to close the full body candle close in just a week. So in that case, the breakout structure will be transferred to this area where there's a full body candle close, and our lower high will be at this point here, which started the move that led to this breakout structure. So when this price failed to respect these areas, it created change of character on the 1 hour time frame. And when price creates change of character, it's an indication or it's a sign that price is about to go bullish. And in this case, you can see price was creating impulse move and pullbacks, impulse move and pullbacks, but no pullback was taken out in this area, meaning there was no inducement created up until this point where price came back for this pullback, which was an inducement. So after price took out this inducement, it created a new valid higher high, which is this one right here. And after that high were 2 points of interest where we could look for buy entries. The first one being this one, which is a decisional order block. But as you can see, it failed to hold price. Price just did a little reaction on that order block here and tried to give us a bullish push, but the sellers were still in control. And then price went for the extreme order block that was on the 1 hour time frame. No lower high here. This was the extreme order block that was not mitigated. Right, so price, I believe it went for this zone and started buying. Yeah, it was a sniper entry for those who managed to take this trade. And after that, I'm now looking for a bullish continuation, reason being price created this change of character. So when the market opens, we may see price giving us a continuation here to create another breakout structure. And for those of you that trade break and retests or how do I call it, price action, right? You can see that this is a break and retest setup. You can use a line chart to get more clarity and identify this as a current structure. So usually price action traders, when price creates something like this, they will be looking for an entry when price retest here and then continue bullish scenario. So for price action traders, you can utilize the setup. For smart money traders, you can wait for price to give you an order block, order flow imbalances. And for ICT traders, you can look for OTE. There are many different ways to trade the markets, and all of them work. That's why they exist. You just need to find your edge when you are trading them. Okay, so this is for directional bias on the 1 hour time frame. Now I'll go to the 5 minute time frame for entry setups. Okay, so going to the 5 minute time frame again, I'll do the same thing I did on gold. I will start by looking at Friday price action to determine the directional bias that I'll take. So here you can see price was creating impulse and pullbacks, and this was a valid adjustment that was taken out on gold. So when price took out this adjustment, it validated a new valid lower high at this point, and then it created a new valid breakout structure here. And then I'll not do all this price action analysis, but you can see that this was a valid lower high which got broken, meaning price created a new change of character here. and this is in line with our directional bias on the 1 hour time frame because you're looking for buy positions. So after you identify your change of character, you now know that price is bullish. So now you just have to look for an inducement, and in this case the valid inducement is right here, and below that inducement you can see we have a new valid decisional order block, which is this one. So what you can do is wait for price to come back to this decisional order block, and then you can look for bullish entries from here. Or if you want to be patient, you can wait for price to come for this extreme order block, which is lying right here, and then you can look for bullish entries. Because price already created a change of character, showing us it has an intention to go bullish. So when the market opens, you can either look for entries from the decisional order block, or you can wait for price to go to the extreme order block and then take your entry. So yeah, this is the entry setup that I have on EURUSD and on gold. Now, if anyone has a question, I was going to ask you to unmute your mics, but that might disturb everyone. So what I'm going to do, if you have a question, just type it in the chat and I'll answer your question from the chat.